A very good evening to you all and welcome to News Tonight here on UBC TV. We are glad that you've made this station your channel of choice. First though, let's have a quick look at our top stories. In our news tonight, President Yoweri Museveni launches furniture factory in Nakasongola district. Police continues arrests over American tourist kidnap. Uganda Airlines commences commercial business in July. And in sports, Uganda seeks to dominate motocross championships. Welcome once again. On sign language is Mogalu Mohammed, and I am Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma, and we are bringing you this bulletin live on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue, but also you can catch this bulletin on Twitter, and our Twitter handle is @UBC. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has pledged his total support to continue empowering women and youth groups economically in order to improve household incomes. He said this during celebrations to mark belated Women's Day celebrations for Kampala District held this Wednesday evening at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds. We have that story.
Kololo Ceremonial Grounds are filled to capacity with the Kampala residents on Wednesday evening to celebrate the belated City Women's Day. A parade by women in uniform from Uganda Police and Prison Services made the celebrations colorful. Hundreds of different women and youth groups across Kampala also joined in the parade. The celebrations organized by Kampala Capital City Authority KCCA was graced by President Yoweri Museveni. The president pledged to spare no efforts in reaching out women and youth groups such as just the carpenters, hairdressers, food vendors and motor vehicle mechanics through their circles.
Buli mulimo tugubera na sako yawo eyetongodde ne bagamba nti abakola ku byenviiri mu district yonna nga ye Kasanda okubira ddala ku kyalo buli akola ku byenviiri ayingire mu kibiina abakola eby'enviiri balonde obukulembeze bwabwe okuva ku kyalo bajje kugombolola oba kumuluka batuge ku district n'esaako yaabwe bateekemu akasente akaabwe naffe gavumenti tubongerereko gamba saako eyo ebe saako ya ab'enviiri mu district ye Kasanda oluvannyuma abakola entebe nabo bakola eyaabwe ab'obuwoteeri nabo bakole ensawo ekibiina ekyabwe bwe bityo.
During the celebrations, President offered 1.3 billion under the Community-Driven Development CDD, where 80 groups are to benefit. He also gave another 417 million for Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Program, and 30 women groups will be empowered.
Emirimu egyo eyetongodde ab'enviiri balina ensawo yaabwe, ababibya hoteeri balina ensawo yaabwe, aba buli mulimu gwetongodde ne gubeera n'ensawo yaagwo. Ate buli ayagadde yenna ku mulimu ogwo n'ayingira mu kibiina bw'aba tayingidde ebyo bibye aba yesaliddewo obutayingira.
KCCA officials commended government for empowering women not only in education but also financial support that has seen household income increase.
Women make up more than half of the city's population. KCCA recognizes the important role women play in the development of the city. On the occasion of the International Women's Day celebrations, we salute the gallant ladies in Kampala who dedicate their time and energy to fend for their families.
The International Women's Day celebrations at national level were celebrated at Bunyangabo district on 8th March. For UBC TV News, I am Philip Aguta, reporting from Kololo in Kampala.
Thanks, Aguta, for that report there. Meanwhile, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that Uganda is on the right track of industrialization under the National Resistance Movement because the movement government has brought about and guaranteed peace, developed infrastructure such as roads and electricity, and created an enabling environment that has attracted investors to the country. Officiating at the commissioning of the newly constructed Nile Fiber Board Limited, a new multi-million wood processing plant in Kinoni village of Kakoge sub-county in Nakasongola district, the president said Uganda's road to industrialization was unstoppable and congratulated Nile Fiber Board Limited for joining a list of several other entrepreneurs who have taken advantage of the excellent business environment in Uganda and invested their capital in the country. Take a watch.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has this afternoon commissioned the wood factory called Nile Fiber Board, located in Nakasongola district. Now, this factory will be manufacturing both home and office furniture. As you can see from the furniture right in front of me here, these are school chairs, and of course there are office chairs and so many other home furniture like cupboard, dressing tables, among others. Now, this is in line with the government policy of Build Uganda, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda that the president launched recently.
Now, I want to thank these investors because they have saved us from Okusaka. Because we have been Okusaka all this, buying from outside. Okusaka means to buy food from somebody else when you don't grow your own food. We have been Okusaka, ebyokukola entebe ez'omulembe. Era bw'ogenda mu office e Kampala gonna gajjudde ebitebe ebiva China. Naye kivako okutabeera na bino ebyokuzimba ebyokukola entebe eby'omulembe nga bano bye bakola kati wano. Era tetugenda kuddamuko okufuna entebe okuva bweru. Byonna biri awo za kabada ebya dayiningi, entebe z'abaana mu masomero.
In the past, they were being forced to use older methods of making furniture, which make them uncompetitive when compared to imported furniture, or have been forced to use imported boards. However, over time we are making them aware of these new products which are more cost effective, but which require them to adapt the methods of construction. We are certain that eventually there will be a thriving furniture industry in Uganda that can serve the entire local market as well as look for export market.
The factory employs over 500 Ugandans in this factory. I'm Dennis Blair Kalanzi in Nakasongola district.
Buy Uganda, Build Uganda initiative actually taking off, and of course it's the onus is on us Ugandans now to promote such industries by buying what is locally made and produced here in our own country. Moving on now, the Vice President Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi has said that no meaningful sustainable development can be undertaken unless individuals have the freedom to think and act, adding that such freedoms can only be guaranteed by governments. Mr. Sekandi was addressing Buddha leaders at celebrations marking the 5th International Buddhist Day at the Buddhist Center in the port city of Osaka, Japan. Mr. Sekandi also emphasized that peace and tolerance are critical at ensuring such freedoms are enjoyed.
The Vice President, Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, has said that no meaningful sustainable development can be undertaken unless individuals have the freedom to think and act, adding that such freedoms can only be guaranteed by governments. The Vice President, who was addressing the Buddha leaders at celebrations marking the 5th International Buddhist Day at the Buddhist Center in the Asian island country of Japan, being held in the port city of Osaka, said that peace and tolerance are critical tenets in ensuring such freedoms. Sekandi commended the Buddhist leadership for promoting peace and harmony and encouraged them to use their network and support efforts, especially in Africa, aimed at ending conflicts which are attributed to the poverty and backwardness on the African continent. He said the leadership of Uganda will continue to maintain its commitment to the freedom of worship for all the citizens, saying most of the initial social services in the country were started by religious organizations, saying that government has very strong relationships with the religious groupings who he called partners in the development of the country. Sekandi used the same occasion to invite Japanese companies to Uganda, saying investing in Uganda would support government efforts in improving the lives of the people of Uganda, adding that total peace can only be achieved when all individuals have the basics in life. The Vice President said that incidents bent on disrupting individual or societal peace have always yielded overreaching negative consequences on humanity, including unbearable living conditions and loss of lives, and urged the world Buddha community to continue crusading for peace. He also invited the Japanese to visit Uganda, saying Uganda does not only support peaceful coexistence, but one of the most peaceful countries in the world, shared equally by the South and North hemispheres because of its unique features that earned it its name, the Pearl of Africa. Vice President Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi urged the Buddhist followers to also use the celebrations to reflect on critical issues that bind humanity together, saying peace, which is a central pillar of Buddhism, is a cardinal ingredient in the socio-economic transformation and empowerment of any society. Sekandi, who was invited to address the convention on behalf of Africa, is leading a 20-member delegation to the celebrations, being attended by over 40 countries with 6 from Africa. The delegation included the Omukama of Toro and the Kamswaga of Kochi, among others. Reporting for UBC TV News, Stephen Kanakulia, Sempa.
Now, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Kataha Museveni, has lauded the Ugandan athletes for their excellent performance at the 42nd edition of the International Association of Athletics Federation IAAF World Cross Country Championships in Aarhus, Denmark. Mrs. Museveni thanked them for making Uganda proud by winning both the gold and silver medals in the senior men's category. The First Lady hosted some of the members of Team Uganda to a luncheon at State House, Nakasero, soon after they had returned to the country.
Of all time, Joshua Cheptegei is the world cross-country champion, the first Ugandan ever to take that title.
At this year's 42nd edition of the International Association of Athletics Federation IAAF World Cross Country Championships in Aarhus, Denmark, Team Uganda, comprised of 27 athletes, came third out of 67 countries after winning 2 gold, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals. The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, assured the athletes that government was working very hard to complete the Teriet High Altitude Training Center so that the sportsmen have a good place for training and practicing.
Many of the young people in the country were watching, and so they are very, very proud of you, and you are becoming very quickly their role models across the country.
On behalf of the athletes, gold medalist Joshua Cheptegei thanked the First Lady for the continuous support given to the athletes in Uganda.
If the race is completed, we will have most of these champions rising from all over our country. It is our joy that the high altitude be completed.
The State Minister for Sports, Charles Bakabulindi, thanked the First Lady for her continuous prayers for Uganda's sportsmen and women.
Congratulate the team, and also to say that you did not shame us.
The president of the Uganda Athletics Federation, Dominic Otchet, requested for an increase of the annual budget allocation to the Athletics Federation from the current 0.9 billion to 2.5 billion shillings. Remija Simbonye, UBC News.
Living Water International, LWI Uganda, a Christian not-for-profit NGO, has requested government to consider granting tax exemption on the equipment and borehole materials they bring into the country to provide safe drinking water to Ugandans. Now, the board members of Living Water International Uganda made this request while meeting the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, at Nakasero State House. LWI Uganda Board Chairperson Robert Nathan Thorpe said that in the last 3 years, the organization has spent more than 790 million shillings on import duty for equipment and borehole materials. He added this money could have helped construct 50 boreholes that would benefit 15,000 persons, and in 2019 alone they will spend over 360 million shillings. Mrs. Janet Museveni, who hailed the faith-based organization for the good work of increasing access to water, requested the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to consider a possibility of waiving the import duty tax on the equipment being brought into the country. Now, the organization started work in Uganda 10 years ago on the invitation of the First Lady and has constructed more than 1,100 water projects serving over 40,000 people and 120 instances of institutional latrines benefiting more than 10,000 pupils in different areas of the country. President Yoweri Museveni has said there is no shortcut for a country like Uganda, whose agenda is sustainable exploitation of natural resources that's aimed at creating a lasting value for society. He said progress has been made in taking forward the key projects leading to the first oil, and these involve putting in place the required infrastructure to produce and commercialize the oil and gas resources discovered in the country. We have more on that in this report.
In his speech delivered by the Prime Minister Dr. Rakana Rugunda, President Museveni has said that much as Uganda's oil journey has been quite long, starting from 2006, the period has been constructively used to map out a critical path for commercialization of petroleum reserves. He said government dedicated the period to solving challenges and closing immense gaps ranging from skills, infrastructure, legal and institutional frameworks, among others, resulting from the discovery of oil in the country.
As a country, our primary focus was on ensuring that the journey towards the first oil was one that would bring in maximum benefit to the country by ensuring that the oil and gas resources are produced efficiently and that Ugandans could competitively participate through provision of goods and services.
President Museveni also said an enabling legal framework to govern the sector in terms of upstream, midstream, and downstream has been created. The Minister of State for Minerals, Peter Lokeri, said government will continue to support the oil and gas sector and endeavor to ensure that all citizens participate and benefit from it. The keynote speaker at the convention, Akim Bello Osagi, who is the chairman of Metis Capital Partners in Nigeria, called upon key stakeholders in the oil and gas sector to pay critical attention to leadership, expertise, competition, involvement, and engagement of local communities and use of local content in the industry.
The issue there was how do we attract bright people who are working in major international oil companies, and how do we pay them to join our government when existing government salaries are usually much lower than international companies. I have no doubt that you are going to face this problem because it is always a difficult problem to solve. In the case of Nigeria, we had to put in place very special financial provisions for people working in the petroleum sector of the government in order to attract them from the oil companies to come and work with us and ensure our negotiations were well carried out.
The meeting was attended by ambassadors, politicians, government officials, among others. Doreen Nasasra reporting for UBC News.
Thanks, Doreen, for that report there. Now, Uganda Airlines is certainly scheduled to commercially take to the skies in July this year. Now, this will be 3 months after the arrival of the 2 fully paid-for jetliners from Bombardier, expected to touch down in the country in a week's time. Now, the Canadian manufacturer of the CJ900 series of aircrafts has a total 4 regional jets to deliver to Uganda National Airlines Company Limited, as we hear in this story.
The anxious wait to have a glimpse at the aircraft which shall propel Uganda Airlines back in the skies could be a matter of days before it becomes real. A set of 2 aircrafts, Bombardier CRJ900, is expected to make a first touchdown at Entebbe International Airport on 23rd this month. Those eager to fly on the national flag carrier may nevertheless have to wait up to July, a period scheduled for the maiden commercial flight. In the 3 months period, the mandatory air operator certification is expected to be fulfilled.
Completion of the air operator certification process. This is a mandatory process, and for it to be effected, the physical, and I'm saying the physical aircrafts themselves, are required to be on the ground to enable completion of the company's air operating certification process with Uganda Civil Aviation Authority.
The government of Uganda reiterates the aircrafts are brand new from the manufacturer's assembly line. The start will have the flag carrier apply African routes until such a time long-haul aircraft from Airbus are delivered. Airbus, in a recent statement, confirmed firm orders have been made by Uganda National Airlines Company Limited for 2 A330neo extra wide-body aircrafts.
We have the basic stuff to run the show. There are certain things which are remaining. You don't know where the offices are. We shall soon get offices even in Kampala. What has improved the situation is that we got accreditation from the PPDA so that we speed up the process of procurement of whatever we want to be in place.
Uganda is steadily fighting to increase on exports to match imports, and as such the cargo aspect of the business is something highly being considered, with the implementation so to be effected after successful passenger operation.
The time is now that we must also now embed in the entire plan to have the cargo aircrafts. In the interim, we may partner with another airline to do the air cargo. We may. That will be the responsibility of the board and the management.
By December 2020, Uganda Airlines is meant to have under her belly a total of 6 aircrafts, as Bombardier, after the delivery of the first batch of the 2 aircrafts, is expected to deliver the other 2 in July and September 2019. Airbus delivery of the long-haul A330 new engine option is expected by December 2020. Onyango Jackson and Samuel Senono, UBC TV.
We definitely can't wait for those jets to touch base here in Uganda. News Tonight takes a short break, but we'll return with much more. Do stay with us.
Six candidates, one debate, one network, national coverage. Mbarara University 2019 Guild Presidential Debate, live and exclusive to UBC, your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Now, the Judge High Court Civil Division at Tweed Towers has dismissed with costs an application by the lawyer for Qualicel tenants seeking a leave of court to appeal to a superior court on grounds that Arias Lukwago, the lawyer for the applicants, failed to demonstrate that there is a matter of law or fact that requires judicial consideration. Now, Justice Andrew Bashaija therefore adjourned the hearing of the case in which Qualicel tenants were requesting to be given an independent account on which to deposit rent to 12th of April to give Lukwago time to get further instructions from his clients on the way forward.
The case Muganga Dennis and 219 others versus Francis Drake Lubega, Horizon Coaches and Mansoul Matovu at High Court Civil Division Tweed Towers kicked off with the application from the lawyer of the applicants, Arias Lukwago, seeking leave to make minor amendments to adjust the citation of the application. Lukwago was seeking to add Civil Suit 215 of 2013, arising out of Civil Suit 147 of 2019 in Civil Suit 199 of 2019, arguing that it highlights a dispute of ownership of the property. However, lawyers of the three respondents were opposed to his application, with Oscar Kihika, one of the lawyers of Horizon Coaches, saying what he called a simple amendment goes to the roots of the nature of the proceedings before court and therefore not tenable. While according to Adam Chirumira, lawyer for Francis Drake Lubega and Mansoul Matovu, Lukwago wants to cure defects in the applicant's pleadings to the prejudice of respondents, and therefore it should be rejected. And Brian Othieno, lawyer to Horizon Coaches, submitted and said the application was incompetent according to the affidavits.
Of this application would not cure that indelible mistake that the applicant made.
To correct a minor defect. My Lord, where a party pleads and another responds, then ideally when you look at the rules, for one to amend pleading, the amendment should not be allowed where it would prejudice another party.
Lord, they have not mentioned the kind of prejudice, the nature of the prejudice they are going to suffer. If a mere inclusion of that civil suit is made.
Court was adjourned for more than an hour for the judge to give his ruling. On return, Justice Andrew Bashaija ruled in favour of the respondents, rejecting the application by the lawyer for the applicants seeking leave of court to amend the application before court on grounds that it will prejudice the respondents, and applicants clearly stated that the application is properly before court.
Any amendment to them with the effect of altering the otherwise will be outcomes at the time of reception should not be readily granted. The circumstances of this case are such that the amendment would not meet the ends of justice. Court is therefore reluctant to allow the amendment sought in so ordered.
Lukwago responded to this ruling, saying it has brought serious implications in the matter and will prejudice the interests of his clients, then applied for a leave of court against the court's ruling, seeking to appeal to a superior court. Although he gave conditions like his clients having right to amend the pleadings at any stage of the proceedings, as per Order 6, Rule 20 of the Civil Procedures Act, the lawyers for the respondents still challenged his application, saying it will delay hearing of the case, yet it's unique and urgent.
Granting leave to the applicants to appeal against the ruling of court would amount to delaying them being heard before the summary court on their application. And that does not serve the ends of justice for the applicants.
Have they got the compassion for the applicants now? Saying the matter is very urgent. I think they agree amongst themselves. That let us not harass the tenants, let us not oppress them, let us have an independent. Because the issue before you is just about an independent account.
The judge, Andrew Bashaija, rejected Lukwago's application, dismissing it with costs, emphasizing that the application would still go on without the amendment, since the lawyer clearly indicated it was a minor rectification. One of the respondents, Mansoul Matovu, said this case is wasting their time, yet they have things to do, challenging the lawyer for the applicants for failure to defend his case. I'm Nafka Farida, reporting.
Let's shift our attention now from the courtroom to matters pertaining to water in the country, where increasing water production and improving storage to eliminate losses are some of the strategies discussed at the first conference on intermittent water supply in the world. The first ever conference by the International Water Association to be held in Kampala attracted hundreds of participants from over 30 countries globally. Now, experts emphasize the need to ensure all people access clean, safe water at all times without interruption. Banadiga gives us more.
We're here in Kampala. We're very, very interesting. It was the first time that specialists who are dealing with intermittent water supply, because it is a reality in their country. It's a very complex problem. We have to sometimes live with it. We want to progress and do better, but as it exists, we need really to exchange. We need really to work on planification, work technically, but also with the clients, with the population, with the stakeholders, because it's a common objective.
One, we have to improve on our storage so that when water comes, we don't just allow it to flow anyhow. Two, we are going to make sure we reduce on the losses, because if you lose a lot of water in the line, at the end of the day you don't have much. That's why intermittent comes in. The third thing is that we are going to increase our production capacity, because we have realized we need more water for people, because one of the challenges of intermittent water is that you don't have enough, you have to ration. But we are going to augment with drilling more boreholes and even creating more water sources like the Katosi, which will sort out the issue of Kampala and Greater Kampala forever. So those are some of the strategies which we are going to do. Apart from sensitizing our people the importance of water, that one is on a continuous basis. But these ones are hands-on solutions which will help us eliminate intermittent water supplies.
The Director of Industrial Training, Patrick Byakatonda, appeals to Ugandans, especially the youth who have had no opportunity of accessing formal education, to embrace skills assessment and certification. Now, as mandated, the Directorate of Industrial Training under the Ministry of Education and Sports is to assess and certify individuals with practical skills to confirm whether they can perform to the required international standards.
50 wiremen, commonly known as Kamyufu, from the Western region are undergoing assessment by the Directorate of Industrial Training, after which they will be interviewed by the Electricity Regulatory Authority. The Director of Industrial Training, Patrick Vyakatonda, says all those assessed and certified will be awarded with the Workers' Practically Acquired Skills Certificate, which will enable them to compete on the international job market.
After assessment, they are going to get what we call the Workers' Pass. Immediately after the Workers' Pass, they are going to be reintegrated and employed because they have been lacking certification, and it is a certification plus the assessment which we are going to do.
The Private Sector Foundation Uganda supports the training that has been much appreciated by the participants.
I didn't know anything in electricity. Yes, I knew something, but I had no papers. But I've gained a lot in this program, whereby I've learned how to measure earthing. I've learned how to everything which I didn't know. I knew practically, but I didn't know anything concerning the theory. With measurements, using a multimeter, using everything we use in electricity. So I've gained a lot in this session.
Okello Richard, an instructor from Lugogo Vocational Training Institute, says over 300 wiremen countrywide are expected to be assessed and certified by the end of June this year.
I'm really appealing to people who are outside there. You are practicing electricity, you don't have any prior education, you don't have any permit. You just come up, even though you don't know English, you can be trained in your own language so that you can be assessed by DIT, and then you are given this permit so that it will allow you to work, to do your work well.
Technicians from National Water and Sewerage Corporation, Uganda National Roads Authority, Uganda People's Defence Forces are among those who have benefited from the exercise carried out by the Directorate of Industrial Training. Henry Moganga compiled this report.
Now, Buganda has added its voice to others that are demanding for the recognition of International Day of Street Children in Uganda. Now, this concern was raised by the Buganda Minister for Health, Dr. Prosperous Nankindu-Matovu, during a guided visit to Dwelling Places, a rehabilitation center for children evacuated from streets.
International Day for Street Children was launched on 12th of April 2011 by United Nations Convention Children's Rights to give a louder voice to the millions of street children all over the world so their rights cannot be ignored. Buganda Kingdom says there is a need for legal obligation to work towards ensuring that all children's rights are integrated into national law so that it is universally recognized that all children should have these rights realized.
To have this Day of the Street Children recognized, the day of 12th April 2019, we join our voice to the various organizations to have these children recognized and a day celebrated by way of advocacy to the public to know that it is important to cater for these children because we never know what they are going to be.
The Uganda Health Minister, Dr. Prosperous Nanchinga, condemns people with the vice of human trafficking as their way of earning a living by dehumanizing younger generation and poor families.
That businessmen and women get children, sell them up to about 20,000 or 50,000 Ugandan shillings. They earn an income and they sell them out very similar to slaves. And we strongly want to condemn that act of selling of children. And we would like to use a cultural approach to have them off the streets, to have them resettled.
The number of street children in Uganda is rising, according to organizations working towards resettling the juveniles.
Of the 15,000, over 2,600 are in Kampala alone. The same report indicated that majority of the children living and working on the streets in the above sample districts are from the native ethnic tribes and those of those districts where they did the counting.
Faith Kembaba's Director Crane Network accuses government bodies for synchronizing the evacuation exercise of these kids from the streets with a lot of brutality.
We ask that we synchronize the rescue operation so that children are not dumped at police stations and remand homes, but in organized civil society organizations so that they have food and a proper process of being taken back home.
The International Day for Street Children will be commemorated on 12th of this month, and in Uganda, organizations working on resettling these kids are to dedicate that day for the advocacy of constitutional recognition. Abudunaseli Luwama for UBC News.
Brought to you by Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
Welcome back from that short break. Let's talk business now. Academia is intensifying its role towards technological advancement in Uganda. Now, the main focus is on how the youth can be helped to encounter challenges met as they deal with technology evolution. Sandra Kahunde now reports.
The rapid evolution of technology has ushered in a number of opportunities, and these trends both directly and indirectly capturing the youth, who are the majority in Uganda.
We have a solar up there. We have also a battery. During daytime, we can use solar to pump this water. Meanwhile, we are charging our battery. At night, we can use battery to pump this water.
To interest them into these opportunities and how to overcome challenges that come with it, the academia is engaging stakeholders to ascertain ways of capturing the many opportunities in the technology arena.
We come up with the policies that will guide technology transfer, will guide technology acquisition, will guide development and also adoption of technologies.
Of late, government is prioritizing the technology sector through continued support to local innovations, including Kayola Bus, among others. But what effort has government done to ensure locally designed technologies compete with international settings?
You cannot start with perfection. So I know as we continue, we shall be having some of the substandard products, but then with the time we need to perfect them. Now, this is where we need to have more resources put in research and development. That's why we are bringing in the private sector involvement in research and development.
Meanwhile, academicians argue that the education curriculum should be in sync with the technological advancement.
When we were young, we used to have what we call the handwork in school. But you find that most of the schools nowadays are concentrating on subjects that are examined at the end of it all.
Sandra Kahunde Agaba and Mark Arnold Wodulo, UBC Business.
Minister of State for Finance Gabriel Aridiro Ajedra has today morning constituted a new board of governors for the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority, PPDA. He tasked the new PPDA board, led by Julius Ishungusha from the Certified Public Accountants, to propound the fight against corruption and delays in the public procurement process in Uganda.
Receiving instruments of power from former board chairman Professor Simeon Wanyama, the new Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Asset Authority, PPDA board chairman Julius Ishungusha, is tasked with fighting delays and corruption in the procurement process of Uganda.
We spend over 80% of government resources on procurement, and hence the importance that we attach to PPDA. As has been noted, delays in implementation of projects affects the growth of the economy. When we invest in infrastructure, such as power, roads, buildings, water, and so on, they all do sum up to the growth, the GDP growth of the country.
The state minister challenged the new board chairman and members to fight corruption using technology that was used in countries like Botswana to fight corruption and delays in public procurement.
As probably most of you will know, Botswana is the least corrupt country in Africa. Probably about 24 in the world, or 23, 24 in the world. We had to put in systems to basically minimize. You cannot eliminate corruption completely, but you can minimize tremendously. Traditionally, corruption is associated with procurement from time immemorial. It has always been there, and it will always be there. Then the question is, you as the board, how do you minimize or stop up corruption?
Both the outgoing board chairman, Professor Simeon Wanyama, and his successor attest to the need of expediting the e-government procurement platform.
There are a number of challenges facing the procurement and disposal system, which include low rates of procurement plan implementation due to delays at the procurement initiation and evaluation stages. So what I think Mr. Elaf was mentioning, we are coming to the end of the financial year, and that's when some people go on to initiate procurements. And of course, they will come with emergencies and so on.
Honorable Minister, this is a great responsibility. On behalf of the board, I would like to express our commitment to deliver on our mandate. We shall take stock of our policies with a view to improve them where they may be inadequate, or put them in place where they may be non-existent.
In his term as board chairman, Julius Ishingusha is to work with the acting executive director, Benson Toramye, Mr. Godfrey Semgoma, Dr. Levi Kabagambe, Honorable Xavier Kampulira, Engineer Ruhanga George William, Architect Dorothy Bora, and Miss Mamachika Rita, representing the Law Society. David Matovu for UBC in Kampala.
Let's have a look now at how the shilling fared today against selected local and international currencies, and also look at the stock market. International news, and we got to South Sudan, where the president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, and his rival, the former rebel leader Riek Machar, are expected at the Vatican for a two-day spiritual retreat later on Wednesday. The news of the retreat has caused considerable surprise, especially given the history between the two men. Their fallout in 2013 triggered a civil war that left hundreds of thousands dead. A peace deal was signed last year, and Mr. Machar is due to take up a position as vice president next month. Sports news now, and the Stanbic Uganda Cup semi-final draws have been held at Fufa House in Mengo. Chetume United will host Proline at Nachisunga Saza Playground in the first leg of the tournament, while Bright Stars hosts Express at the Champions Stadium in Mwererwe. Now, the first leg of the tournament is between April 24th and 28th, with the return legs expected to be played between May 4th and 9th, 2019. Uganda football legends Charles Namakola and Sam Timbe, both winners of this prestigious tournament, graced the occasion. Proline head coach Shafik Bisaso and Chetume Chief Executive Officer Henry Kayondo were also present to witness the draws. Masaka Recreational Grounds will host the finals of the games. Now, defending champions KCC AFC were knocked out of the tournament at the quarter-final stage. The winner of the tournament is to represent the country at the CAF Confederation Tournament. Motocross now, and Uganda and Kenya look to renew their rivalry when the first edition of the East and Central Motocross Championships rolls this weekend. Top names in the game will compete for both prizes awaiting the African champions, as we hear from Amon Ngabo.
In every motocross contest, a battle between the Kenyans and Ugandans is a big one. The teams have competed at both the continent and regional levels, Uganda claiming to have a better hand at all fronts. Well, Uganda hosts the East and Central Motocross Championships on Easter Sunday at Garuga Motocross Arena. Uganda's captain Maxine Vampi says there is no better platform to defeat both the Kenyans and Tanzanians other than the home ground.
One of my favorite races, not only because it's race against the Kenyans, but also it's the Easter weekend, so it's usually a packed event with many spectators, and the best races are always the ones with the most spectators. And this time we'll be fighting against Kenya and maybe Tanzania. I know the Kenyans are not happy with how we've been dominating this event the last 3-4 years. So they're really trying to put all their strength together to assemble a big team and try to accumulate as many points as possible in this first round, so that in December when we go to Nairobi, they have a chance. As you know, the last 2-3 years we've been dominating it by a big margin, thanks to the big teams we've been taking abroad.
The racing track has been modified to suit the competition and rivalry. Uganda is expected to field 60 riders on the day, trying to dominate the event and maintain the home winning record. After round one, the return leg is set for December this year, where the champions of the region will be crowned. Ngabo Emon, reporting for UBS TV.
And finally, some volleyball news now, where Uganda Christian University, UCU, has completed a stellar debut at the 2019 African Clubs Volleyball Championship in Egypt, where it finished a respectable 11th out of the 19 teams in attendance. After failing to move out of its group, Uganda Christian University embarked on classification and has secured 11th position after edging Botswana's Police. Uganda Christian University will be proud of its achievement at this tournament that brings together the continent's best teams. Players like Moses Odeke and Jonathan Tumukunde must have by now gathered enough experience first to secure a place next year by decent performance in the league. The other Ugandan side at this tournament, Nemo Stars, has finished 6th, which is the highest any Ugandan side has achieved in the 38-year history of the African Club Championship that have almost entirely been dominated by Arab nations. And of course, the weather patterns in the country keep changing. It's raining this morning, the next day it is not. But to have what is likely to take place tomorrow, let's have the weather forecast for tomorrow.
The rain belt, commonly known as the ITCZ, is positioned over the central and eastern parts of Africa, including our country. The reason for the pickup of wet weather activities across various parts of the country, like Alua, Gulu, Kabale, and Entebbe. I'm Sempa Alex Kim from the Weather Center with the weather forecast. Tomorrow morning, we do expect most parts of the country to have chances of some light showers, apart from the southwestern and the northern of the country. Well into the afternoon, we do still expect most parts of the country to have chances of some light showers, though we do expect this rainfall to be quite less than what we had yesterday and today. Temperatures are expected to rise to 31 degrees Celsius in Kotido, 27 in Entebbe and Kampala, whereas for Kabale Highlands at 24 degrees Celsius. Elsewhere across the globe, we are forecasting for Doha and Johannesburg chances of thundering showers, whereas for New York, temperatures are picking up. We do expect 12 degrees Celsius as a maximum. That is all we had time for. I remain St. Alex Kim. Stay tuned to UBC.
Yes, we expect some light showers tomorrow morning, especially in Kampala and its surrounding areas. So when you're leaving home tomorrow morning, just prepare yourself adequately. Carry a jacket or an umbrella with you. And that brings us to the end of this bulletin. But before we leave you, let's have a recap of our top stories. In our top stories tonight, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni launches furniture factory in Nakasongola district. Police continues arrests over American tourist kidnap. Uganda Airlines commences commercial business this July. And in sports, Uganda seeks to dominate motocross championships. Thank you so much for having kept us company. Mugalu Muhammad has been on sign language, and I am Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night. But do not go away, because there is a lot that's still to come here on UBC TV, including a very nice movie, Ultraviolet. Stay tuned and catch you tomorrow.